Hello, this is Jacqueline from Jack Knits, and let's take a look today at this really fun, unique stitch. Look at this beautiful slanted, twisted stitch. Here I did it in a bulky weight yarn. Here is in a worsted weight yarn. It's such a beautiful stitch, makes a really dense fabric, and it's actually quite simple to do. So let's take a look at how to do this stitch. All right, let's look at how to do this really fun stitch. I just want to show you again the texture of this stitch, this beautiful slanting of the stitches. It makes for such a unique knit design that is quite different from other knit stitches. So here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to show you on this more bulkier weight yarn just to give you a more visual look at the stitches and how we're going to do each stitch. But it also makes for a really beautiful texture on a worsted weight. Here I made a headband out of it. The texture is quite, or the ended fabric is quite a thick, dense fabric. So if you want something that's a project that's requires something really dense, this is a great stitch to try. So we are going to start with any number of stitches, cast on any number of stitches, which I already did, of course, on this swatch. I think I cast it on 18 stitches. And then the very first row, which I've already done here, your setup row, is going to be all purl. So just purl all of your stitches for row number 1. That is the setup row. And then we're going to go to this 2-row repeat. Okay, we're going to actually, this is the right side of the fabric, so when you got the right side facing you, you're going to slip the first stitch as if to purl, so just slip it off the needle. And then we're going to do this kind of unique stitch. We're going to look between these 2 stitches and below. So between, and then we're going to look below. You see this little strand of yarn right here? We're going to actually insert our needle below that strand between the 2 stitches. So right here in this hole. And we're going to knit through that hole. So bring that yarn back through the hole. And now we're going to kind of extend our right needle out to make a long loop, pulling from the right needle. Once you have that long loop there, then you're going to take your right needle and slip this first stitch on your left needle purlwise onto your right needle. And now you have kind of 2 strands of yarn on your right needle, and we will go on to the next stitch. So we'll do that again. We're going to go between these 2 stitches and below. So knit between and below, right in under that strand, knit in that gap, pull that stitch out all the way for about that length. You can kind of feel that that's about as far as it will go, and then slip that first stitch, making a double strand. We'll do it a couple more times. Between and below, pull that stitch out and slip that stitch. Between and below, knit it, pull that loop out and slip. Now, when you do this stitch, it does tend to be a little tighter knitting, so I would recommend that you always go up a needle or 2 sizes from what your yarn recommends. So I am using a size 11 needle on this worsted weight yarn, or this bulky weight yarn, excuse me, and that gives it about the right tension, I think, for this. On my worsted weight headband here, I used a size 9 needle. So you're always going to want to go up a little bit in your size because it is quite a dense fabric and it tends to be a little bit tighter. All right, we're going to go to the end of this row with this knitting between and below, pulling and slipping all the way to the end. We're going to go between those last 2 stitches, and then we're just going to knit that last stitch. So just a basic knit stitch for the last stitch. Okay, now we've got a bunch more loops on our needle, and we're going to take care of those on row number 2. So row 2 of our pattern is the wrong side of the fabric. We are going to bring our yarn to the front and just slip that first stitch as if to purl. And now you can see that we've got 2 yarn wraps over the needle. We're going to purl those 2 together. So with the yarn in front, purl those 2 stitches together, and that's what we're going to do to the end. Each double little strand of yarn on your needle we're going to purl together. Purl two together. Purl two together. And we will do that all the way to the end as well. Purl two together the last two stitches or yarns together, and then the last stitch we're just going to do a single purl stitch. All right, that is the 2-row repeat. Really not too difficult to do. It's just a very unique stitch, resulting in this beautiful, unique pattern. So I would recommend, if you are working on something that does tend to curl a little bit, you see my curling here, and I did experience that when I knitted this headband. So this is the headband after it's been blocked. I soaked it, blocked it out. If you need some instructions on how to block your finished projects, I do have a link in the upper right hand corner that shows you how to do that, but I would highly recommend blocking it. Or you might even want to do, if you're doing a project with this stitch, do some kind of a seed stitch or garter stitch border around it to help it lay a little bit flat, because it does have a tendency to curl a little bit. So I hope you give this new stitch a try. Play around with it with different size needles and different weight yarns. See what you like best and come up with a beautiful project using this very unique stitch. Well, I hope you found this helpful. If you do, please give me a thumbs up, like, and perhaps subscribe to receive notifications each week all about fun new knitting stitches and creative patterns and tips and techniques. Thanks for watching, everyone. Happy knitting!